Hey guys, what's up? It's Katy and I'm back with another Marvel Contest of Champions video, and today we're going to be looking at Act 5.3.1, Game Begins Anew. So I'm making this Act 5 series for a few reasons. The first is that I've gotten a lot of questions about Act 5, and I'm actually finding them kind of hard to answer because it was so long ago when I did Act 5. And the second reason is there are a lot of new players out there who are looking for more Act 5 content, especially with champs that are relevant to today. So with this series, I'm going to, do my best to walk through Act 5 with the past, bosses, notes, and champ information that is relevant to 2019. Now for this video, we are going to be looking at 5.3.1, Game Begins Anew. Now, I will not be going through each path in a video. I may do that in later chapters, but in 2019, these early chapters are pretty straightforward. Also, from this point forward, I will be putting in timestamps for whatever paths I record in the description below. So if you just want to jump to a certain path and watch it, you can do so. If you are now the next thing I want to do is I want to go over this spreadsheet that I have that I've created for Act 5. Now this is an active spreadsheet, so if you have any suggestions for me to add to it, go ahead and put them in the comments to this video and I'll take a look at them and update it as we go. Now that you are uncollected, let's take a look at Act 5.3. Now this chapter can be kind of a pain in the ass because it relies on a diverse roster that you need to have, and you need to collect these keys in order to go through certain paths in all of Act 5.3. These keys can be found in other chapters, so you may have to grab a key from one part of 5.3 and then, come back and finish an earlier part later on. Also, to make things worse, each chapter gimps all classes but one. So in 5.3.1, all champs but Mystic will have their attack decreased by 50%. Now, you can make up some of this damage by using a class advantage champ, so, bring in a Science against a Mystic or that sort of thing, but using the particular class for the whole chapter is ideal. Now, I know that cannot always be the case, but there are kind of some ways around that, which we'll go over. So if we look at the spreadsheet here, we've got all the nodes, we've got all the mobs that you'll face, and I also have the list of, a description of all the nodes right here for you to take a look at, the boss, what he's gonna have, and then I also have a map that I kind of made up. So, but with this map, it's kind of a choose your own adventure, so you can either use this map or choose your own adventure. Now, this map is downloadable, so if you click on it and want to download it so that you can go ahead, scout out your path, kind of figure out what champs you're gonna want to bring in for it, that sort of thing, that's totally up to you. So now if we look at the map, so let's go ahead and take a look at the map real quick. There are 3 gated paths. Now you can collect these keys by going through the ungated paths in the chapter, but like I said earlier, you may have to explore other parts of 5.3 in order to get all of the keys. I think in this chapter though, you can 100% before moving on to the next one, but I'm not totally sure. There are 2 paths though that are not gated, so I would definitely suggest starting with those. But other than that, 5.3.1 is not too bad. It's sort of kind of an introduction as to how the rest of the chapters are going to work. So other than, the global node that gimps all champs except for Mystic, there are 2 links to the boss where Hyperion gives Mordo Enhanced Fury and Superior Iron Man gives him Plague Mine. So you're just gonna have to be wary of those when you fight him when he is still noded. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the path. So path 1 I've got I've got mapped out in green. So you start here, and it's probably the easiest one once you get to the point where you can port from either side of the boss. So from here, from the starting point, we go over and we go through Black Panther Civil War. So just be careful. Don't try to parry him when he has his armor up, so you'll get stunned and he's going to come back and wreck you. And then we've got Gwenpool. Be careful. She can evade and she can kind of be a pain in the butt. And we've got Gambit, not too hard. Psylocke, not too hard. Be careful of her heavy. She's got a long-reaching heavy, and her special 2 takes some adjustment in order to dodge, but once you get it down, it's fairly easy. And then we go over to Hawkeye, pretty standard. Red Hulk, now you will have class disadvantage here because he is Science. And then we go to War Machine. If you can push him to his special 2, that's definitely way more easier than evading his special 1. I sure as heck cannot evade his special 1 fully and it can do a lot of damage even through your block. All right, then we move on to Winter Soldier. Not too hard. Again, bait out that special 1. It's pretty easy. Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, and then you can either port over here and go through Black Widow and Storm onto the boss, or you can port over here and go through X-23 and Phoenix. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the nodes, Black Widow has enhanced abilities and enhanced crit, and Storm has enhanced abilities and degen, whereas X-23 has enhanced abilities and power gain, and Phoenix has aggressive enhanced abilities and Mystic War. So if you only want to face that degen once, just go ahead and port over to Black Widow and Storm 1 time, and then all the other ones go through X-23 and Phoenix. It's kind of all which pick your poison type method. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look back at the map. And now path 4 is probably the hardest. We're going to talk about that later on. I've made a video for that, so we'll go over that path when we go into the video. But if we go ahead and look at path 2, which is here in red, so this begins your gated path, and you need a cosmic key to get through it. But other than that, not too bad, and they're all unnoted as well. So you come over here and you go through Angela. She's not too hard. Just remember though, she can hit really hard, especially when she's got those Furies up. Drax, both of his specials are pretty easy to dodge, so no worries there. And then you move on to Ronin. And Cosmic Spidey, just remember Cosmic Spidey, he gets that spider sense after he throws a special, so he will evade after that special, so be mindful of that. And we got OG Thor, not too hard. Definitely bait out those special 1s over the special 2s, just like you would for Ronin. And then Captain Marvel Classic, not too hard. Both her specials are pretty easy to dodge. We move on to Venom. Definitely want to bait out that special 1 over the special 2 because he'll convert all of his Furies, or excuse me, all of his buffs into Furies with his special 2, and he'll start hitting really hard. And we move on over here to King Groot. He's not too hard. He's going to be kind of a pain in the butt though, so if you've got someone like Sim Supreme, that's a good option for him. Magic, she's another really good one. And be mindful that when he has his Furies up, he can shrug your parry, so just be careful of that. Carnage, he's not too hard. If you are running suicides with Carnage, remember his specials will all be unblockable, so keep that in mind. And we move on to Venom Pool. He's pretty standard. Both his specials are easy to dodge. Then we move over to Hype. Now with Hype, you definitely want to bait out those specials. Don't push him to a special 3. If you have a Power Lock or Power Steel champ, that would be great for that. Magic is really good for fighting Hyperion, and then we can teleport over. And again, you can, pick your own poison as to whether you want to go through X-23 or over here through Black Widow. Okay, so then moving on to path 3, and path 3 is the science class. Now these guys here are all noted, so you want to be mindful of that. They all have different nodes. So if we look at path 3 here, so like I said, each mob is going to have a different node. So you're starting out here with OG Spider-Man with critical and enhanced abilities. So bringing an anti-evasion champ is pretty much optimal, but I can't think of a Mystic that has an anti-evasion mechanic in there. So your best bet is to just, kind of parry and do 3-hit combos. Next, you're going to come across A-Bomb with enhanced fury, enhanced poison, and armor. So this would be great for someone like Mephisto or Dormammu, since both are poison immune mystics. And then or also Black Widow Clairvoyant, she is now out, so she would be another really good option for this. After A-Bomb, we move over to Quake with Stupefy, Enhanced Fury, and Fissure. So for this one, you want to make sure that you don't get any Quake charges on you, because if you do and you don't launch your special in time, she's going to stun you, and that stun is going to be extended due to the Stupefy. So be careful with that. Magic would be great for this to kind of keep her power locked and power drained. All right, so moving on to Cap World War II with Enhanced Bleed, Heal Block, and Degen. So you're going to want to bring in a heavy hitter like Scarlet Witch or Iron Fist. So then we move on to Hulk, and Hulk has Enhanced Fury, Outlast, and Buff Duration. Any champ will really work on Hulk, but at least with the Mystic, you can, nullify or steal those Furies with someone like Loki or Scarlet Witch. So then from Hulk, we move over to Luke Cage, and he's got stun immunity, enhanced special 1, and enhanced special 2. Now, both of Luke Cage's enhanced special 1s and 2s are both easy to dodge, so, you know, just bait out those heavies and punish those specials. Just be careful of his indestructible. All right, and then you can either, again, move on to Black Widow and Storm, or, you know, X-23 and Phoenix, and then on to the boss. All right. So then we, like I said, we'll talk about Path 4 in a video. So let's go ahead and jump over to Path 5. And for Path 5, you're going to need a Mystic Key. So then, so we'll come over here to Path 5. You're gonna have Punisher. He's pretty easy. Now these guys here, they're also unnoted, so not too hard there. You don't have to worry about that. So you're gonna have Punisher, you're gonna have Cable. Don't bring someone that bleeds, but someone who can nullify that regen and power gain that Cable always seems to get when you play against him. Never quite when you play with him. Would be ideal. And then Karnak, definitely bait out that special 1 over the special 2. His special 2 can do a lot of damage even through your block if you're not great at dexting it. And then we move on here to Electro. Not too hard. You're going to take some damage, so make sure you are fully healed up, or you can bring in someone who can regen, someone like Scarlet Witch. And then we've got the Hood. He's pretty standard, not that hard. And then coming over here, we've got Ms. Marvel, pretty similar to fighting Captain Marvel Classic. And then we've got Thor Jane Foster. Thor Jane Foster, her special 2 is way easier to dodge than her special 1, so if you can push her to that, that would be ideal. And moving on to Groot, don't push him to his special 2. You don't want him to get that regen, plus it's unblockable, so bait out those special 1. Ant-Man, he's going to be kind of a pain in the butt with all that glancing, so bring in your heavy hitters. Those will help you out a lot. Kamala Khan, nothing too special with her. Just watch when she does launch a special. She does get those furies, so she will be hitting pretty hard for that. And then we move on to Superior Iron Man, who removes the Plague Mind from Mordo, and then we teleport over, and again, you can go through Black Widow or X-23 and then on to the boss. It's just pick your own adventure there, we can call it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at Path 4. And so the first one you're going to come across is Dormammu. Now, all of these champs on here have Cornered and Bane. Now, we've dealt with Bane in the last chapter, so you should be fairly familiar with it by now. So, but you want to make sure too that you be careful of the degen that he can that he can put on you himself. So essentially, you could potentially have a double degen. So Scarlet Witch is great for this because she does have a chance to heal. Magic is also another really good option for this fight because of her limbo can help negate, you know, some of that damage. If you absolutely have to, you can bring in a science champ to, you know, for the class advantage, because even though they're not mystic, because they have the class advantage, they're still gonna do more damage. But in all honesty, magic is probably your best bet for this entire path. So keep that in mind. Because she's great, all you gotta really do is pay attention. You do kind of have to pay attention to that Bane timer again, so just be wary of that, but nothing too hard. So here we've got Gladiator Hulk. Yeah, he has his attack decreased by 50%, but he does have the class advantage. And also Gladiator Hulk is great for that degen. All right, so now we're moving on to Hood. Now I brought in Ghost here just to see you, or just to show you how much less damage, or how much her damage is reduced. So because she is not a mystic class. So normally Ghost does some pretty good damage, and as you can see here, she is hardly doing any damage. Now Quake is great for this too because of the Bane. If you can play Quake well, use her for this entire lane. Because then you really don't ever have to worry about the Bane. So just as long as you don't touch them and they don't touch you. No one likes to be bad touched. So if you can play Quake, she is ideal for this, especially when it comes to the boss, but we'll get to that later on. Magic, again, is another good option for this because she can keep them power locked and power drained, and then she can steal the power as well, so that'll get you up quicker to a special too. So keep that in mind. If you are baiting out specials, definitely bait out Hood's special 1 over his special 2. You don't want to push him to that invisibility. So now we are moving on to Scarlet Witch, and this can be kind of tricky because you're going to want a champ that is poison immune, because she will put a poison on you and she will put a heal block on you. So you'll be dead pretty quickly. Just look at how much magic dwindled down there, and I didn't get a limbo either. Dormammu or Mephisto, again, would be great for this because they are both poison immune. Hood is an option for this as well because he can stagger the buffs that she's gonna get. So, you know, she has a tendency to get power up, armor, fury, regen, that sort of thing. So with Hood, he can stagger those buffs. So he's another good option for this fight. Gladiator Hulk, again, he's poison immune, so you don't have to worry about that. And plus with the degen, he won't have to worry about that either. So now we're moving on to Guillotine, and this is a pretty standard Guillotine fight just with Bane. Both of her specials are pretty easy to dodge, so no worries there. I did bring in Wasp here because she has class advantage number 1, and so she's not going to suffer as much from the reduction in damage, and she also hits really hard. So if you are going to bring in a science champ for this, make sure you bring in a heavy hitter. So someone like Wasp, Cap America, Infinity War, they're both really good options for this if you don't have any good mystics to use. So those are kind of some ways to get around this global buff, or debuff I should say. But again, magic is just MVP for this whole path. Just for the essential sense that, you know, she can power lock and power drain. All right, so now we're moving on to Unstoppable Colossus, and Hood is great for this fight because he can put the stagger on Unstoppable Colossus and prevent him from going unstoppable. So then you don't have to really worry about watching when he's unstoppable and watching that pesky Bane timer. So you can just kind of go in and go at it. Plus, Hood does have a little bit of a power steal in him as well, and you can stun your opponent too, which will help you out with the Bane. But overall, Unstoppable Colossus, really not that hard of a fight. Luckily, oh, and with this cornered too, I should mention, is he's gonna gain power like crazy. But the good thing is, with Mystics having, you know, no damage reduction, most Mystics are able to, you know, power steal and power lock, so that is super beneficial on this, you know, whole path here. So just keep that in mind as you're going through. If you need to, you know, Cap America, like I said, he's another good one, as he can counter that unstoppable as well, and he does hit pretty hard. So he would be another really good option if you don't have any good Mystics to come in, especially ones that could stagger that unstoppable. And again, magic is like MVP for this whole chapter. As I've said, well, especially this whole path. All right, now we're moving on to Juggernaut, and this is similar to Unstoppable Colossus, except unlike Unstoppable Colossus, with Juggernaut, you can't stun him when he's unstoppable, so you're just gonna be mindful of that. Sim Supreme would be another really good option for this whole path, as well as magic. So if you have a Sim Supreme, he would work out fantastic here. But Scarlet Witch is good here too. She can nullify, so keep that in mind. Plus, you know, she has the ability to regen in case you do get that pesky Bane on you, so keep that in mind. Clairvoyant, she would be another good one for this fight. All right, now we're moving on to Iron Fist, and there's nothing really fancy here. This is pretty much your standard Iron Fist fight with Bane. Ramping up your Mystic Dispersion for this chapter would be helpful. And also, if you have like any of those Mystic power boost to throw on, definitely go ahead and do that. Those will help you out a lot, especially with champs like Magic. So if you've got Magic, she's a great option for this, but there are a lot of other really good ones. Iron Fist is not that hard of a champ to fight. Both of his specials are easy to dodge, so you don't really have to worry too much about that. Once you get through like once you get through Scarlet Witch, it's pretty easy on this path. So all right, so now we're moving on to Loki, and Loki is going to be gaining power like crazy. So So you definitely want to make sure you can either lock that power down, drain that power, or bait out those specials. Otherwise, you're going to push him to a special 3 and he's going to curse you, and that's not going to go well for you. So make sure that you have a good champ that's can, you know, power lock, power drain, that sort of thing. And I just ate a special 1 right there. I prefer pushing him to his special 2. Yes, it's unblockable, but it's super easy to dodge. The timing for his special 1 can be kind of tricky. And also, if you're too far away from him when you dodge it, punishing it can be a little bit difficult, where you'll try to punish and he'll punch you in the face, or he'll parry you, and it's not good. All right, so now we're moving on to X23, who has enhanced abilities and power gain, and her power gain is massive here. So get those specials baited out and get that power locked down. Now, this is great for Mystics because you can nullify her regen, and you know, you can power lock and power steal. Sim Supreme would be awesome for this. Scarlet Witch is another good one for this fight, as you can see here. Magic is ideal for this because of how quickly she gains power. Dormammu also would be another good option because he's also bleed immune, so if you do get clipped, you're not going to get a bleed on you, but he can also lock her power down. And using Dormammu, I should mention that when you fight with Dormammu, what you want to do is power, land a parry, land a heavy, and end your combos into a medium. When you get up to your special 2, launch your special 2, that'll keep them power locked, right? And then once his little charges on your opponent get up to 100, parry and land a heavy again, and that will take a lot of their health points down. So that's a good way to play Dormammu. Plus, he also can nullify off of his special 1, so you don't have to worry about that pesky regen. So kind of just keep that in mind in case you know, if you don't have Scarlet Witch or if you don't have magic, Dormammu's another good option. So is Mephisto. He kind of, you know, can prevent her from regenning at the beginning of the fight. All right, so now we're moving on to Phoenix, and she has aggressive, enhanced abilities, and Mystic Ward, and keeping Phoenix power locked is ideal because she can jump from a special 1, launch it, and then jump to a special 3 like that. It's happened to me before. It's unpleasant. So this makes magic ideal for this. Plus you have the class advantage here, so but just keep her power locked. Be wary of the right of the Phoenix once she gets that at 1% health, so just kind of back away right at that point. So now we're moving on to Mordo, and because we didn't remove the linked nodes, he has Plague Mind and enhanced abilities. So the little gray timer you see is the Plague Mind. Once that reaches full, it will drain your power. We've run into it in other aspects of the game, so you should kind of be familiar with it by now. But Quake is ideal for this fight. So because she can kind of get around that astral evade when you parry and then just charge your heavy, get all those Quake charges on him. And as long as you don't rush in while he's stunned, he's not going to astral evade. So keep that in mind. You want to be careful of using champs like Scarlet Witch because you don't want to hit him when he's stunned, because like I said, he will astral evade. Gulk is another really good option for this, but your best bet is to keep him power locked. Now be careful, because he has enhanced fury, don't let him charge his heavy, because otherwise he's gonna start hitting like a truck full of dildos. So be mindful of that. Don't let him charge his heavy. If he's charging his heavy, try to go in at him, but be careful you don't get smacked in the face as well. But there are other options around this if you don't have any good mystics. Like I said, Quake is probably your best bet for this fight. So if you can Quake and Bake, you've got this path nailed down like that. But anyways, guys, that's all that I got. Let me know in the comments below if you've run through Act 5.3.1, who did you use? Who will you use? What do you think of this video? Do you have any suggestions to add to the spreadsheet? What champs did you use? Did you go mainly Mystic, or did you throw some science in as well? Let me know in the comments below and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and hit me up in the Discord chat. Thanks, guys. Bye.